Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Books and Gratitude, the podcast where I talk about books I've been reading, what I love about them, and of course, I end with a few words of gratitude. Today, I'm talking about Breaking and Entering, a novella by Brandon Hall. And I'm giving this one a very easy 5 out of 5 stars. I mean, if you love thrillers, suspense, mysteries, home invasion stories, and books where you very quickly realize that absolutely nothing is going according to plan, this is one you are going to want to check out. About Breaking and Entering. So the story begins with 3 men, Emmett, Marcus, and Mick, who are already in serious trouble. They have been involved in a string of home invasions, and things have gotten much, much worse after an elderly man dies during one of their previous robberies. Now, Emmett's name has made the news. Police are looking for all 3 of them, and they know that their time is running out. So they decide that they need one final score. Just one job, one house, and then they can disappear. So they disguise themselves as utility workers, complete with the uniforms, a van, fake company signs, and a pretty believable story about checking homes for possible gas leaks. Their intended target appears absolutely perfect. It's an affluent neighborhood, a big house, and what they believe will be a relatively straightforward robbery. They have planned everything, or at least they think they have. Once they're inside the house, though, the story begins changing in ways I did not expect. Wow. What starts out as a crime thriller very quickly becomes something much darker. The 3 men enter that house believing they are the predators. They think they're the dangerous people in the room. But before long, they realize that they may have chosen the worst possible house to enter. There's something really strange about the couple who lives there. And there's something strange about the house itself. There are these rooms and walls and passageways and parts of the property that don't quite make sense. And once those discoveries begin, Brandon takes the story into full-blown psychological suspense. The tension keeps climbing as Emmett, Marcus, and Mick realize they're no longer just trying to finish a robbery. They're actually trying to survive. And I'm stopping there because this is exactly the kind of book where discovering what happens alongside the character is part of the fun. So why did I give this 5 stars? Well, as somebody who also writes thrillers, I'm always paying attention to the mechanics of suspense. I notice the pacing, I notice foreshadowing, and I notice whether a writer gives away too much too early. And I really notice whether a story can genuinely surprise me. Breaking and Entering did, most definitely. Brandon sets up what seems like a fairly recognizable premise. 3 criminals planning one final home invasion while law enforcement is closing in. That alone could have carried a suspense story. But then he flips the entire situation. The people who walk into the house thinking they're in control quickly discover that they understand almost nothing about where they are or who they're dealing with. That reversal is one of my favorite things about this novella. I also really like that the 3 main characters aren't interchangeable. Emmett, Marcus, and Mick each have histories and responsibilities and regrets and reasons for being where they are. The book gives us enough of the lives outside of the crime to make them feel like actual people rather than just 3 burglars who we're supposed to watch get into trouble. Emmett especially becomes a fascinating character because there's always this tension between the calm, controlled person he tries to be and the much darker part of him that comes out when the people he cares about are threatened. And Marcus has his own emotional baggage, particularly surrounding his relationship with his own brother and the choices that help pull all of them in danger. And Mick has dreams and a family waiting for him outside of all of this. He isn't just thinking about the money, he's thinking about escape and about becoming something more than the life that he's been living. Good on him. Those details made me more invested in what was happening to them. And then there's the house. I won't tell you what they discover, but I'll say this. The house becomes a character in its own right. Every hallway, room, sound, hidden space, and unexpected turn adds to the claustrophobic feeling. That surprised me. And it will surprise you too. There were moments when I genuinely felt like I was trapped inside that place with them. And that's difficult to accomplish for an author. As for this suspense, this book will absolutely keep you on the edge of your seat. It did for me. Once the central situation really begins, the story barely gives you an opportunity to relax. Just when you think the characters understand what they're dealing with, another layer appears. Just when you think they might have found the solution, something changes. And because the characters are physically trapped inside this environment, that feeling of danger becomes increasingly intense. As a thriller writer myself, I loved watching how Brandon continually shifted the power dynamic. Who's hunting whom? Who has the advantage? Like, actually, who knows the house? Who's injured? Who can still be trusted? And what happens when people who thought they were prepared to discover that someone else has been preparing much longer? Those questions keep the story moving. It's also definitely a dark book. There's violence, some disturbing imagery, and a few scenes that aren't for the faint of heart. But none of that changed my rating for the book. For me, the violence fits the type of thriller Brandon is telling. This isn't supposed to be a cozy mystery. It's an intense, sometimes brutal survival thriller, and it knows exactly what it is. So, my rating? Breaking and Entering by Brandon Hall gets 5 out of 5 stars for me. No question. It's tense, dark, unpredictable, and extremely difficult to put down. I had a hard time putting it down. I especially recommend it to readers who enjoy crime thrillers, psychological suspense, home invasion stories, survival thrillers, and stories where the hunter suddenly becomes the hunted. That's an awesome twist. And I'm deliberately leaving out what happens in the final part of the story. No ending spoilers here. I will never give a spoiler. You will have to read the book and discover that for yourself. Before I go, as always, I want to end with a few words of gratitude. Today, I'm grateful for writers who continue to create stories and share their imaginations with the rest of us. And some people don't like the word imagination, but without it, you don't have these wonderful books to read. Writing a book takes time. It takes persistence. It takes vulnerability. And when an author hands a story over to readers, they're handing over something they've spent hours and days and weeks creating and questioning, rewriting, and believing in 100%. As a writer myself, I completely understand that. So today I'm grateful for storytellers like Brandon who keep doing the work. I'm grateful for books that can still surprise me. I'm grateful for those moments when I'm reading and suddenly realize I've forgotten everything happened around me because I'm completely inside someone else's story. And I'm especially grateful for all of you who continue supporting authors, buying their books, leaving them reviews, recommending the books to your friends, and giving writers a reason to keep writing. Sometimes something as simple as telling an author, "I loved your book," means far more than you realize. So here's my gratitude challenge for you this week. Reach out to an author whose work you've really enjoyed. Leave a review on their book. Send them a message. Recommend their book to others. Or just tell them that their story meant something to you. Honestly, a few kind words cost nothing, but they can mean everything to the person receiving them. And that goes for everything, not just books, everything. So thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Books and Gratitude. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with somebody else who loves books. And let me know what book you're reading right now. Until next time, keep reading, keep supporting authors, and always remember that there's something to be grateful for. I'll see you next time on Books and Gratitude. Have a great day.